So one day I just call out to the universe, whatever, and I just call out like, help me.
Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Unfortunately, Gopal Roy Prabhu is a little bit underneath the weather, as many people are at this time of the year. So today we're going to be joined by someone a little bit different. That was him.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is Partha Saka Prabhu, previously known as Petter, our Swedish stud from the Brahmachari ashram.
What do I say? Like,
He's a bit nervous about being on the podcast, but that's fine. I was nervous my first time. The first episode we ever did, I was just giggling for the whole time, like nervous giggles. So you can
was that
be.
with Tarkana?
No, it was with Gopal and Charlie. Episode 1, we were upstairs in the Brahmachari ashram in Splot, and it was like just as lockdown was happening. It's quite interesting. But yeah, we can go one or two ways with this podcast. We can either continue to read the Nectar of Instruction, or, as I know people are interested in hearing people's origin stories, so maybe we could just talk a little bit about you, Partha. What do you think?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're, what year were you born?
2000.
Yeah, 2000.
Yeah.
That's quite funny. It's funny because it seems old. It seems young to me, but you're actually one of the older ones. How old are you? 25? 24.
Turned 25 in May.
It's funny how time flies.
Yeah.
But so you were born in Stockholm.
Stockholm, yeah.
In Sweden.
Yeah.
What was Stockholm in Sweden like in your childhood?
Yeah, it was. I actually don't live in the city. I live in I lived in a kind of a quiet, peaceful area.
Mm.
And I didn't used to go into Stockholm much.
Okay.
So I'm not your typical like city boy, I suppose.
Okay. And what was the topography of the area? Topography. I'm trying to sound clever, see. Topography means like the landscape. Was it mountainous? Was it forestry? Was it lakes and rivers? And
I mean, it's kind of like a suburb, but you have it's a bit hilly, but mainly like flat and like
forested.
Forest, yeah.
Cool. And was there a lot of trips to IKEA, seeing as you're Swedish? No. Really?
No.
I just imagine that every piece of furniture in your house would have been IKEA.
Most of it, but not all of it.
I knew most would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're born in the year 2000, beginning of a new millennium. Stockholm suburbs of Sweden.
Yeah.
Your childhood was fairly average?
Yeah. Decent, yeah.
Decent. And then I've seen there's pictures of you, maybe you're like 11 years old, wearing some interesting robes.
Do you mean the one with like a... I have like a king, like a royal outfit.
Yeah, there's a picture that I've seen of Partha, and he's got some sort of like religious garb and a crown.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just curious. Like Swedish culture is very different to the Welsh culture. So, is it a usual thing that people are wearing these funny robes and?
Yeah, I mean everyone kind of does it, but they don't do it for a religious reason.
Really?
They do it to get gifts.
To get gifts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like motivated religion. Like
it's not even to do with religion. Like you just do it because it's like a tradition, and then at the end of it you can get gifts.
Okay, and so Sweden is not a very religious country anyway, is it?
I mean, it used to be Christian, and yeah, parts of it will be, but yeah, mainly nowadays it's kind of atheistic.
Atheistic, yeah.
Yeah.
Because so you grow up
secular.
That's what we are kind of in the UK, right? Secular.
Yeah.
Like a secular state,
yeah.
Like no particular religious leaning,
and
that's kind of encouraged in school as well, right?
Yeah,
secularism.
Yeah,
I remember in school we kind of studied religion as like this academic subject.
Yeah,
like the people of this religion perform these rituals.
Yeah,
the people of this religion, you know?
Yeah.
And it was all based on the externals.
Yeah.
And we weren't really taught anything about the actual relationship with God. Do you know, like I
Yeah.
always thought,
Yeah.
like I remember I was reading my exam paper from my GCSE in religious studies. And the question was, what role do women play in the Hindu religion?
Yeah.
And my answer was something like, they rise early, feed the children, and wash the models of their god. Because I used to make these little like like aeroplane models or like Warhammer, like little models that you paint. So I thought that the deity worship was like their little models, and they wash their models. Like I had no conception. But yeah, you get taught about just the rituals of the religion. So I'd be right in thinking you weren't a particularly religious person growing up.
No, when I was a kid, I was a bit more like philosophically inclined. I asked some deep questions. I remember at the dinner table asking some I don't know, some deep questions, and my parents were like, "Whoa, like you're just 4 years old, but like,
really,
that's deep."
Like a little hint that you were on a trajectory from a previous life.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
yeah, you can't say that without seeming like you're I'm him. I'm reincarnated.
Exactly.
But yeah, there was like little signs that.
Yeah, and I also remember asking my my family members, like my uncles and stuff, like, "Do you believe in God?" And they were like, "Not really." And they kind of just shrug it off.
Yeah.
Like, not very encouraged, basically.
So it sounds similar to my upbringing. It's like you weren't raised religiously, but you weren't an atheist either. Just of like, religion. That's just people do religion, but we're not really. We don't do it.
Yeah,
we're not against it, but
yeah. Well, I guess like my father has some quite strong opinions about faith, and he's very expressive when it comes to that sort of thing. So I feel like my views on religion kind of was molded in a similar way. My mum's a bit more like...
Okay, so he'd kind of preach against religion a little bit.
Yeah, not like actively, but you're at the dinner table and just
make comments and things like that. Interesting. So you said as a child you were very philosophical.
Yeah. But
so like after, when you got into your teenage years...
Yeah, quite like, I would say atheistic, or...
Like actively...
Not atheist, but like, I guess agnostic, but just like kind of... Actually I was... Yeah, I didn't like the idea of God,
Yeah. It sounds, me and you sound like we've got come from a similar angle on that.
Yeah.
In that way, because I was the same. It was like, I remember listening to like a podcast or some sort of radio show about religion, and the person was making the point that like, if there is a God, then why on earth do people suffer in this world? And I was like, yeah. I took that on for a lot of my teen years. It was like, why would God make people suffer?
Yeah.
And it's not until later when you hear about the kind of philosophies that come from the East, like the whole idea of reincarnation and karma, and how sometimes the suffering that we experience in this life is a result of some sort of bad activity or deeds that we could have done in a previous life or previous lives, many lives ago. And how that it's not that God is punishing a person, it's just that the universe has a natural balance to it where if you push one way, it pushes back the other way. It's like every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
So it's like that philosophy kind of goes, okay, the reason good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people is because the framing that we're looking at life is a bit off. Like we look at this one life as the central, like this is reality. This is the only experience of life. But if you zoom out and think, okay, I'm on a long chain of action and reaction for many lives.
Yeah.
So then, that kind of helps us in one way when we are going through struggle, because it's like, I'm not being punished by the universe. It's not like a blind, cruel, punishing, smiting God. It's like, okay, I'm just kind of getting my comeuppance, and what goes around comes around, and and now me going through this suffering or me experiencing this misfortune actually can help me to empathize with someone else going through it, and
Yeah.
okay, yeah, now I understand what it's like to go through that.
Yeah.
Because that philosophy can help you to grow, but the other way, you just become bitter and angry.
Yeah, it can be quite like dangerous, actually. I think. Yeah.
So you're a little bit of an atheist. This is when you're like 14, or
Yeah. Around that age. Yeah.
and what else? What were your other kind of like pastimes?
Pastime.
Yeah, like what was your Leela at that time? Like, were you
Playing video games.
so you're a gamer guy,
Gamer. Yeah.
a bit of a geek, or
I wouldn't say geek. But
just a gamer?
yeah, just.
No geek would ever say geek. Were you a sporty guy as well? Because you got quite.
I
An
used
athletic.
to be a little bit. Yeah.
What sports do they play in Sweden?
I mean, I played football until I was like 10,
Oh yeah.
so that's not. You know.
What other? Do they have any weird sports in Sweden? Like hurling? Did you do
Hurling. What's that?
that? Okay, you don't do that.
What is it?
Some sort of thing where you like have a ball and like a stick with a basket on the end, and it's like hockey but
Oh, yeah.
hurling. I don't know. I feel like that would be a Swedish thing to do.
No, you got the normal sports, tennis and ping pong. I guess.
Oh, another question I have, which is quite serious and important. You know, like at the school discos in primary school,
Yeah.
would there be like a predominance of ABBA? Would that be like the main music that would be being played, or is that just
You
me
got
being
some
racist?
Swedish house mafia. Some...
Really? Swedish House Mafia, some Avicii.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is it a very nationalistic country? Like you're taught to be very proud of being Swedish, or
I'm not sure if you're taught, but I mean,
it's
I guess so, yeah.
it's running through the whole thing.
I mean, yeah. It's a nice country, isn't it?
Because I've noticed when you've led some Hare Krishna kirtans, you've pulled out the ABBA tunes. And
Inspired by
what was the melody that you were singing?
The winner takes it all.
The winner takes it all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so bit of a gamer.
Yeah.
So that was you at 14. Because when did you come in contact with the whole Krishna conscious philosophy?
When I was 20.
20.
Yeah. That's when I met Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Yeah.
We can't. We got to gradually get there.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, but you're a practicing monk.
Yeah.
Like I just said, oh yeah, Partha, you should know him. But Partha, you're a monk. You've been a monk.
I think you mentioned.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, briefly, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we know now. If you got 12 minutes into podcast, you know he's a monk, practicing monk. So you're a bit of an atheist. You take it away. Let me know where you.
So yeah. Like
You're doing well in school.
yeah, I was doing quite well. I wasn't very enthusiastic about school at some point. At some point it turned. Like when I got into my teenage years. Before my teenage years, I was quite like
Good scholar.
yeah, I mean top of the class. Not top of the class, but amongst the top. But that's quite young. And then I just didn't see the point because I think just to keep going on that like philosophical and like deeper thinking kind of thing that I was doing when I was a kid, I think that kept going, and with a kind of atheistic philosophy or like the scientific philosophy that's being pushed, I was thinking, well, why am I doing any of this? You know, like what?
Yeah.
It doesn't make I'm just a tiny atom in a huge universe, and whatever I do doesn't make a difference. You know?
Yeah.
So it's quite like a
Nihilistic.
nihilistic, yeah. And I just like didn't see the point in me doing anything, so I wasn't very enthusiastic about school at some point. But that also got me thinking and trying to look for answers, you know, because just what's the point? Why am I suffering? And you know, because
It's an interesting point because I guess intelligent persons are naturally attracted to like scientific ideas and theories.
I used to want to be a scientist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because everything you're saying is resonating with me. I feel like we come from similar. Because I also was like scientific and atheism become the natural philosophy. But then if you actually boil down that atheistic, we all just are matter, and actually that the natural conclusion is like a nihilistic viewpoint, because if it is just matter, then there is no point to anything.
Yeah.
So why am I going to go around pretending that I care about
Yeah.
meaningless matter? There's no
Yeah.
end game. It's just
Yeah.
like
It's just
it's like
passing
a
the
sick-
time until
until you die.
you die. Yeah.
And then there's like sick unjust punishments there.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
there's all these kind of
And it's all random. It doesn't make,
yeah.
nothing just makes it,
It'll drive you crazy, like
Yeah, yeah.
which it did probably.
I had my mental issues.
Was there a certain point in your life which like a certain event which made you sort of start to be more on the, like, is there something, you went from this innocent young boy
Yeah.
that's into philosophy a little bit, like
Yeah.
talking philosophically to
Yeah.
some guy that's just kind of like, what's the point of everything?
No, I think,
It's just like teenage years.
yeah, teenage years, the grumpy kind of
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sets in.
Yeah.
And then, because my brother was very, quite similar. Like, I remember my older brother, he's 3 years older. And when he got into his, like, what do you call it, puberty?
Yeah, yeah.
And he got grumpy as anything. And I was
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with my brother? I've lost my brother.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be like him. I'm never gonna be grumpy. But I was worse.
Like an emo kid.
Yeah, and just like don't want to do anything my parents tell me to do, and just want to be in my room and play video games all day.
So because I want to know now, at what point how did you make that transition from being like kind of leaning on the side of being an atheist, scientific or whatever?
Yeah.
How did you go from that to being like, you've been practicing as a monk for 4 years now?
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5 years.
Course, yeah.
Like, it doesn't, how?
I don't know. Like, I guess it was just like I had a dream once.
I
had a dream.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who is it? Stephen.
It's
No, is it?
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King. Yeah, that's King.
Jr.
Not Stephen King.
He's that author.
So I had a dream about psychedelics, right? And I was quite like anti-drugs as well. That's kind of Sweden's quite like right-wing when it comes to drugs, or like they're
Like
very conservative. Yeah,
They're against drugs.
yeah. I don't know how it is now, but that's
Mm.
what it was. So my views were quite strong. Alcohol's legal when you're 18, and before that, I'm not gonna touch anything. Smoking is just useless anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna touch. I might drink something when I'm 18.
Mm.
But then one day I had like a dream. I don't know. Somehow it just sparked my interest in just exploring, like, intoxicants and like
Psychedelic.
yeah, psychedelic. That's more like mind expanding kind of side of.
So the dream was like, it just happened out of the blue.
Out of the blue, yeah. It was really weird because I'd never really heard anything about LSD, and I didn't know anything about it.
Mm.
But then in this dream, it was I got spiked by someone.
Huh.
And it was LSD, and then in the dream I started tripping, and then when I woke up I was like, what was that? And then I looked up like LSD and what it does to you, and it was like quite.
So you actually had like an LSD trip in the dream.
Yeah, and
That's bizarre.
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Just aside though, because I heard about dreams, like Prabhupada says in his purpose, dreams are usually previous samskaras mixed together.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe potentially in the previous life you were in the hippie period, or
Yeah.
like taking
yeah.
psychedelics. Or,
I probably heard about it, but just like
yeah,
But yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was quite sudden, like.
Yeah. And I guess that because that type of stuff, if you play around with it, it really does change a person's. It changes everything about the way the person operates
Yeah.
and interacts with the world, right?
Yeah.
Not always in a good way.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I guess because in school I had an easy time.
Mm.
When I studied, I could perform, but like I said, I lost enthusiasm in my teenage years.
So you had a dream, started exploring with substances, and then through that exploration, you basically came to the conclusion that there's no answers.
I mean, kind of at that time as well, I got into like meditation somehow.
Similar
it's kind of
time.
at the same period of time, so it seems like there's like some sort of
Yeah, there's definitely seems to be a link.
yeah,
Like, because generally people some people just take these substances just to have a good time and party.
yeah,
And then there's other people, they're really looking for answers in life.
yeah,
And it seems like a sort of solution because you're getting like a glimpse into the idea that you're not the body and that you're conscious.
yeah,
Because you put these, because like, just a disclaimer, like any kind of intoxication is the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
So it's going to degrade you, whether it's a psychedelic thing or heroin, or ultimately like drugs are going to warp your perspective of reality and take you further away from the truth.
yeah,
That's just facts. Like if you actually look at it over, like anyone who takes drugs for a prolonged period, but like just the fact that you can take some kind of substance and it alters the way that you perceive reality.
yeah,
For me, when I was into that kind of realm, it kind of invited me into the idea that I was perceiving reality through my body, not that my body was me. Like it's like, okay, if I change the apparatus, it's like putting on a pair of shaded glasses. It changes things.
yeah,
It like it alters the data that we're getting access to.
yeah,
And especially the psychedelic stuff, that will go more into this. You'll be able to pick up more subtle things. And
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that time I got into like meditation, and I also got into some like I guess spiritual content on like YouTube and stuff.
Okay.
I was trying to gather like
Dakota
knowledge,
of the
you know,
Earth.
like
just YouTubers that were into spirituality.
what are they called? Like Aaron Dowdy is one, and like Infinite Waters. Anyways, there's some like I don't think they're very well known, but some people might know them.
But they kind of they were resonating with you.
Yeah,
the concepts.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah,
because even a lot of spirituality online will take stuff from the Eastern philosophy and the Vedas. And
I was wondering where they were getting all the information from, you know. And I guess they pulled their own little twist on it, but like some things they say is quite good, you know, like you're not your body, you're one catchphrase, I suppose. It's like you're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and
you're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like
so. It's like this, almost like you were being drawn into this whole idea of consciousness expansion.
Yeah.
Finding out the meaning of life. And
yeah.
You were looking through different avenues to find it. Through different substances, different philosophy online, a bit of meditation.
Yeah, the meditation was mainly because I heard you can like meditate and open your pineal gland, and then you can you can have a
third eye, chakra.
third eye, like far out experience from that, you know.
Yeah, you hear that. That's real as well. There's what's the type of yoga that Koladeep used to practice?
Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini, yeah. And he's been on the podcast and spoke about his Kundalini experiences, and from his kind of what would you call it? Like his explanation of what it was, he was saying like it's very dangerous because if you don't know what you're doing, you are dealing with your subtle body and you're moving energy around, and you can get everything knotted up basically. Yeah. You can cause some damage, and he was even experiencing that. Like he was getting into Kundalini, and it kind of resulted in him having some kind of like almost like a tick, where like even now I think he's got like almost like a Tourette's tick, where it's like it's the energy, like because the energy is all warped up.
I didn't realize it was Kundalini.
Yeah, it's to do with that. Is what? Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm really sorry. But like, it plays with your energy, and it took him a lot of chanting Hare Krishna, a lot of like Maha Mantra and cleansing that stuff and it's died down as a result of all of that. You know.
I think I've seen it over the past few years. It's a bit less.
Oh, it's a lot less. Because before, when he first came, it was really always talking about like all this blocked energy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, we got to be careful when we're experimenting with different subtle sciences and whatnot, because you know, like you start messing around with psychedelics, you can really do some damage.
Oh yeah.
Like some damage.
Yeah.
You see people like that. Same with Kundalini, you could do
Yeah.
damage. So it's really,
Yeah.
it's important if you're doing any of that stuff, you know, just be careful.
Yeah.
So you're into the meditation, yoga, or not?
Yeah.
A bit of yoga.
Yeah.
Gaming still?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Still gaming.
Nice.
Yeah. That's what keeps me going. I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of escaping the reality, you know, isn't it? Like, because it's just like, it just seems like a lot of, for me, it seemed like a lot of suffering and like there's nothing to do, you know? So you gotta just escape this. And like,
Yeah. I think there's definitely a therapeutic effect
definitely, yeah.
to gaming in the sense that like it takes your attention away from worldly concerns, which actually can provide some benefit. If your mind's giving you too much grief and is moving around too much, just focus on something. But I don't think it gives you any eternal benefit.
No.
Just on like the material platform, it can calm you down for a bit.
Yeah.
But the whole point of life should be to try and get a bit of the eternal benefit. Like try and practice the Krishna consciousness. Put your games down.
Yeah.
Pick your beads up. I'm talking to myself. So yeah.
And then I guess I finished college.
Like university or like
It's
18-year-old or something?
yeah, 19.
Okay, yeah.
It's like we call it gymnasium in Sweden.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think it's the equivalent of college. And I'm like, okay, right. So this spiritual thing, I want this to be the main thing in my life because I realized it was helping me. That was actually what was helping me with my mental health and stuff. So I wanted to take a year off to try and find myself, find my purpose, and so on. But what I ended up doing was gaming for a year.
As you do.
Yeah. And then at some point, I kind of was thinking to myself, I've done nothing this year, you know. I thought I was going to find myself, but I'm just like, and now I have to start doing something because that gap year was kind of coming to a close. And my dad was saying, you can't just sit around and game all the time. You got to do something with your life, you know. And I was in agreement.
Interesting what you're saying there. I was just thinking like back of a year.
Yeah.
Arjuna's like basically saying, I'm going to take a gap year and be spiritual.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to do the fighting. I'm going to go to the forest. And then Krishna is pretty heavy. He's like, you can't take a year out from doing your duty.
Yeah.
Like you have to do your duty, and if you do it properly, it can elevate you.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like because if you don't have an occupation, devil makes work for the idle mind. And it's like if you got nothing to do, you just do the devil's work, basically. You know, like you just do the thing that.
Yeah.
You know, interesting though.
Yeah. But on the side, I kind of also of that gap year, I kind of had that spiritual knowledge. I was kind of content still, you know. Oh, I'm a spiritual being, you know. But there was nothing more, you know. So that, anyways, I get into university,
studying
biomedicine.
Okay, scientific-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of, because that was my interest in college as well, was like chemistry and biology and the sciencey stuff. So got into university, and at some point the spiritual kind of knowledge that I had gathered from different sources, I don't know, it felt like it wasn't helping me anymore. Like it was there, and I had the knowledge, but like, now what, you know? Life's going on. I didn't want to do what everyone else is doing. I didn't want to go to work and, you know, what everyone else is doing. But now I'm doing it. I'm going to university. I'm going to become whatever, you know, I don't know, doctor or whatever. I don't know what I was aiming for. I didn't know already. But. So this kind of dark patch, or like depressive kind of down patch, hits me again, and I'm very distressed at this point, because even the spiritual knowledge couldn't help me. I was like, what do I do? You know. So one day I just call out to the universe, the whatever, you know, and I just call out like, help me, in like a really sincere way. I never used to pray. Help me. I need someone to help me, a teacher, anyone. And it was very heartfelt.
Raw.
Yeah, just raw. Yeah. And like a month passes, and then I just bump into one of the devotees on the street, and I was like, "This is amazing! Like, this is my prayer, you know, answered." And
it was in Sweden now.
In Sweden, in during COVID, in a student town, kind of small. I told my friends, "Oh, I met a monk." And they were like, "What? There ain't no monks here. What are you on about?"
Which monk was it?
It was Gauranga Gopal.
From Wales.
From Wales.
Or from France, from Wales.
From Cardiff.
That's far out, right?
It's far out, yeah.
Because he got randomly sent to Sweden for a little period of time.
Yeah.
Just for like a month or something.
Yeah.
And he said it was the hardest. He's doing book distribution in Sweden.
Yeah.
And he said no one was taking books.
Yeah.
Like nothing was happening. It was so tough.
Yeah.
But then he bumps into little Petter. So what happened what was the scene like? Paint it. Like where were you? Where were you going? What was on your mind?
So one morning I was living in a kind of a crappy student accommodation. It was actually a hotel.
Huh.
But they
it's quite like the student hotel or something.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
And
big money making operation.
Yeah. It's just not very nice living in a hotel, you know. Like there was a kitchen. There was 2 kitchens, quite small, shared for 40 people.
Oof. That's rough.
Yeah. So, and I'm not very sociable, but so I was just trying to not interact with people. But anyways, so I wanted to find my own kind of student apartment. So one day I was on a viewing. I was going to this student apartment just to see what it was like. And and after that I decided to go on a walk. And when I went on walks, I usually tried to like do some breath work or some like breathing meditation. And that day it was just working exceptionally well. I was like so zenned out. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, what's happening here? You know? And for some reason, I decided to walk into town. I usually always walk on the outskirts. Like I said, I'm not very sociable. I don't want to interact with people. I was walking in like the forest or whatever. But I walked into town to have a look what's actually going on in town. And I'm kind of listening to this peaceful, like frequency meditation music. Or
Yeah.
And so I'm just strolling around and having a look, and then someone tries to stop me and says something, and I can't really hear what he's saying. So I take my earphones off. I kind of fumble around a bit with my earphones, and then he repeats what he says, and he says, "You look very peaceful." I'm like, "I am." He's like, "What's your secret?" I'm like, "I don't know, meditation." Like,
wow.
He was like, "Oh wow." So then he also asked.
But he spoke in English.
Yeah, he spoke in English. I spoke English.
People in Sweden speak English a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Carry on. I don't want to cut the story, but
yeah. So and then he shows me a book, Chant and Be Happy, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, this is amazing. And he says it's sound therapy, so that's what I'm doing. Listening to like frequency music and trying to.
He told you he's a monk.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't think he was a monk.
Yeah.
Somehow, because he was just wearing normal clothes. So after I told my family, and I'm not sure if he's a monk, but he said he was. He must be. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. But anyway, so he showed me Chant and Be Happy, and I was all over it. And then he had a big coat, and he just kept pulling out books out of his pockets, like 5, 6 books. And I was just standing there with a pile of books in my hands, and I was like Blissed out. Yeah, just all over them. And then he says, "Come, let's go to my office." And we walk like 2 minutes or something, and he has a suitcase chained on to a bike parking station, like. And he opens the suitcase and he's like, "I gotta give you this one," and it's the Bhagavad Gita and some other books. And so I'm standing there with I think it's actually 10 books in my hand. And then I get them all. He asks for a donation for them. At first I thought they would be free actually, but but anyways, and then he asked for like double the amount that I thought, because I was like, I'm not sure how much to give here, and I don't know the price of a book, so I was thinking like £50 or something for 10 books, which is quite cheap, isn't it? And but he said double, so like £100, and I was like, but go on then, I can do that. And then he was being cheeky, like. So he saw, because he knew I was enthusiastic about it, and I really liked the books. He could tell, so he was like, "Actually, can you do £180?" And I was like, "Let me check how much I have in my account." And then I gave him like 175 or something. So I left £5 on my account. And
nice.
I mean, I don't know.
No, it's good. It's good.
Anyways,
because they say the more you give, then it's like a sacrifice. Like you've made a sacrifice, so you're committed to the knowledge.
Yeah.
Like you're committed to it.
Yeah.
If someone just gives you a free book, sometimes like a Christian on the street gives you like a free Bible or something.
Yeah.
You chuck it in a bin. You don't care. It's free. It's worthless. So that's one of the reasons why the monks will ask for a bit of payment, is to help the person value what they've gotten.
Yeah.
Like it actually is a benefit for them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you are just it's a Bhagavad Gita, it's worthless.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find them on the bin and kind of, after you've distributed them, people leave them by the bin.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, it actually made me appreciate them a lot more, and I've sacrificed for these books, and I know they're gonna help me, So as we were walking away, I was just ecstatic, I couldn't stop smiling, like literally smiling from ear to ear,
Yeah.
And
it's bizarre, isn't it? Like, so you took the books back then?
I took the books back, and I knew they were of, I don't know, I felt like I had to respect the books, so I put them in the nicest place possible. And then we stayed in touch, me and Goranga. So then a week or so later, we just got on the phone. He told me a bit about chanting. I tried it, and it was like very uplifting.
It's like you were ready for it.
Yeah.
And you're just steered into Granga's path. And it's just so far out now, like how in the years since then, you've come over here, gelled right in, started distributing books yourself, and just very naturally taking it up.
Yeah, we can definitely see Krishna's hand in it, though. Like Vamshi was saying this morning, someone was asked if he had seen Krishna's face, and he said no, but I've seen Krishna's hand many times. Because when you look back, you can just see how Krishna guides you in different ways, So
it's an amazing story. I remember speaking to you on the phone when I was in the ashram. It's like, oh, this is weird Swedish guy.
Yeah.
You're just like suddenly taking up Krishna consciousness from Sweden. It's like, who the heck is this guy? And then you came over and you were cool. Like, you used to have really nice Swedish hair, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like
blonde.
White blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
When I went to Turkey when I was 10, they saw my white hair and they all just wanted to like
touch it. It was nice. But yeah, that's a cool story. I think people will like that.
Hopefully, maybe.
And where now? Like, so after taking those books, how long was it before you moved over here?
So that was in December 2020.
2020.
And I moved over, or I came over at first in June 2021. So
Okay, so 6 months.
yeah, 6 months.
And you read most of the books, or
I just read. I was kind of finishing off Bhagavad Gita. No, I was halfway through it, and I'd read.
Shan't Be Happy?
No, actually, I read Your Ever Well Wisher.
Oh, that is
It's
awesome.
a biography of Prabhupada.
Great
And,
book.
Yeah. that
By
was-
Satsrup Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I read The Easy Journey to Other Planets because it was a bit more
Small.
scientific. You know,
And it's
like-
tiny.
Yeah. Tiny.
Do you still have, you obviously still have those books in Sweden.
Yeah.
You should keep hold of them somehow.
Yeah.
Were they Swedish printed?
Some of them were.
Okay,
Some of them were English.
interesting. So 6 months after, and then you've been in the ashram ever since. How would you say that your kind of outlook's changed spending the past 3.5 years in a temple, like as a monk? Like, what would you say, like, the main differences?
I mean, you definitely in the ashram. You definitely learn a lot, even just materially speaking. Like, I was a lazy bum before, but I mean, in the ashram, you're always active. So, and you learn to challenge yourself, go out of your comfort zone, like going on the street, distributing books. It's like,
Yeah, that made me think. You were saying that you don't like people and you used to avoid the centre of town.
yeah,
And now you're in every town centre
Yeah.
across the UK every day,
yeah,
speaking to hundreds of people.
yeah,
Like,
That's what
Krishna
Krishna-
says that, I carry what you lack.
yeah,
If you surrender, I preserve what you have and I carry what you lack.
yeah.
So he's helping you out there.
Definitely. It's still frightening, you know, sometimes, but
Well, I've experienced that because I, believe it or not, a bit of a shy person also. Like, I act all extrovert, but yeah, when I've been trying to go on the street recently, it's just really scary,
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I used to do it really when I was like practicing my Krishna consciousness ashram style, like getting up super early, chanting, reading, really on it. It was actually it was easy, thoughtless. But since I let my kind of practices slack a bit, I've noticed, like, oh my God, I'm on my own now. Like, I'm dealing with my own.
yeah,
It's hard then.
yeah. You need some sort of momentum, isn't it?
You need momentum, and that spiritual inspiration is the
Yeah.
main. We got to hunt for spiritual inspiration. Like, if your spiritual life's feeling dead and flat, like, you have to really seek it and search it in the same way that you rawly said to the universe, I need a teacher, I need help me, I need help.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, we have to seek that help and chase the taste, because otherwise the mind will just it just plays tricks on you, and you can easily end up resentful of the whole process of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
So you have to chase the taste, get to the kirtan when your mind's saying don't.
Yeah.
You know, go every effort you can make, like, to come close to Krishna, just try and take it. And then that builds on itself and you get the momentum. Because, it's a lot harder outside of the ashram because you haven't got that environment that's forcing you to practice and forcing you to follow because if you don't follow the ashram program, it's just not going to work. Like, because you're in the ashram, it's like you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. So just by following the crowd, automatically you're in a Krishna conscious scenario. You know what I mean? Like, so outside the ashram, that's why the Grihastha ashram is meant to be like a progression. It's like a difficulty level increase.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I can imagine.
It's like, because you're now, you have to choose.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening that's outside the ashram, you're the one that's choosing.
Yeah.
You're not getting forced.
Yeah.
So it's like, what I've started doing is I want to come to Mangalati more. I just asked Garanga Gopal, phone me in the morning and force me to come. Because if I'm left to just my alarm clock, snooze. Like, every time, 100% of the time, snooze.
Yeah.
But if you've got some other people there that are forcing you or holding you accountable.
Yeah. It's just so much easier to tag along. You know, you live in a room with other people who are getting up in the morning when I'm just going to get... It's so much easier to get up in the morning.
It's funny because when you're in your ashram, it seems so normal. But if you tell anyone that you wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go and pray, they're like, what the heck is going on? What's wrong with him? Like, but yeah, it's cool. That was an awesome story. Thanks for sharing. I'm sure people enjoyed.
Hopefully.
Okay. Do you want to finish it there?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay, cool. Gaur Premanandi.
Haribo.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you like the episode, come and tell Partha. Come to the temple. Say that you listened to it. And touch his beautiful white blonde seeker like the Turkish people.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Actually, don't do that. Or ask him first. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti